Author's House.
Hello, everyone. Today is January 28th, 2022, and I am gathered here today with Paul Parnell, the author of My Friend, the Man Who Rode the Donkey. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Paul?
Well, let's see. I'm a 72-year-old bachelor. I was born in Hastings, Nebraska. I lived most of my life in Harvard, Nebraska. Like a fellow Harvardite that was born there in Harvard, Paul Revere of Paul Revere and the Raiders. We consider ourselves Harvard men, not necessarily the university, but Harvard men. And let's see. When I was in school, I guess you'd have to say I was a jock. I played football, basketball, track. I played American Legion baseball. Then when I graduated from high school, I attended Fairbury Junior College, where I graduated Phi Theta Kappa. I think I was 11th in my class, and I took a triple major of history, political science, English and composition, and psychology. And I've worked in a foundry.
You know what? Everybody loves pizza, so everybody loves to see the pizza delivery guy.
Oh, I tell you what, there's a lot of pizza going on out there. Well, I should say I had four brothers. Two of them are still alive.
So for the first question, what is the main message you want to get across to your readers?
Well, let's see. It's a simple story. It was written for kids, but it is a story of a little bunny that happens to be in the stable when a child is born, and they become friends in the stable, and they're lifelong friends. She experiences her life through his life. She actually gets trapped in the tomb when he is buried, and she tells what actually went on in the tomb, which is something I've never heard or read about before, and what is told, if you have any knowledge of the Judeo-Christian religion, it's something that is plausible. Well, I don't know what happened. I don't know if anybody alive has ever known what has happened, but it's something that could have happened there. And it's her story as it relates to Jesus. Now, the man on the donkey is never mentioned by name. The reader picks that up as they go along, and they figure out that the man on the donkey is Jesus.
So that actually answered one of the questions that I was just about to ask, if there was a reason why you never gave him a name.
Yes.
Is there a reason why you never mentioned the man on the donkey's name?
Yes, it is. I wanted the reader to get the joy of discovering who that man on the donkey was by themselves. I looked and I could see that I could see a child. All of a sudden, the light goes on and says, "That's Jesus," and I just thought that would be something unique about the story, and just a different little insight that could be used.
Right, I see. It was to help with the story, to help create. I can't think of the word, but to attract people,
Yes,
to make them want to read more, because how do they figure it out? They have to read more.
Yes, that's. I would say that would be what would be happening.
Right. So, what does literary success look like to you?
people enjoying the book. I don't really think that it has to be a big financial success. I mean, the book's out there and people go to read it. Enjoy it with your kids. I mean, it's there for you. I just hope that people enjoy what's out there.
Right. Yeah. I would agree. I feel like literary success comes more from people enjoying your story than people buying it. Because I mean, you could consider getting a bunch of money success, but I feel like success really comes from the heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yes. One thing I can see with this book, I actually could see it as a television special, or it could be an animated movie. I mean, it's that type of story. It's a children's story. It's something that's out there that I think kids really would enjoy.
How old were you when you wrote your first story?
Let's see. I was a sophomore in high school. We had to write a story for English class. So I would say I was 15 or 16. It didn't mean anything. It was a lesson. So.
Yeah, I was really young when I wrote my first story as well. I think I was 11, maybe 12. Yeah. I might have been younger than that even. Would you say this book is a standalone, or is it a part of a series?
Well, it was written to be a standalone, but my present mouth isn't working right. my present endeavor could go along as being of the same genre, let's say, but it wouldn't necessarily be a serial, something like that. The name of my next one is called Sapphire.
So it wouldn't necessarily be a part of the same story, but it would be around the same topic, is what you're saying?
Yeah, it wouldn't be a serial like step A to step B, but it could be right in the same time period or same type of background, but it just wouldn't be like the story of the Easter Bunny and Jesus. It would just
right. It wouldn't be a continuation of the story. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So, what would you say is your biggest source of inspiration?
Biggest inspiration? Oh, geez. People.
Any specific people or just people in general?
Just people in general. I mean, there are millions and millions of stories out there that they're just waiting to be told. They just need somebody to tell it.
Yeah, exactly. Right. That's a really good way to put that, because you're right. There are millions of stories out there, and there are millions of ways to tell each story. So somebody's got to tell it.
That's kind of like what my friend, the man who rode the donkey. It's a different view of the story of Jesus, and it's told with childlike view, as seen through the eyes of the bunny. And I jokingly say sometimes, how can you have a bad story when your two main characters are the Easter Bunny and Jesus?
It's exactly like, how do you have a bad story when you have characters you can connect to?
Yes.
And Jesus is a character or a person or a figure that a lot of people are inspired by, a lot of people want to read about, a lot of people want to learn about. So it's, how could you not connect?
Well, I got a text message a couple weeks ago from a lady in Arizona, and she said in her text that she had a hospice patient that had a great amount of anxiety and just was beside herself. And she read my story to her. The woman quieted down, became peaceful. And to me, that was something that was really humbling, that my little story that's meant for kids could help somebody. I mean,
it's heart touching.
It blew my mind. I mean, I was delivering pizza when I got the text message. So you can imagine what it did to me then.
Yeah, I can imagine that it really just kind of grabbed you by the heart and was like, hey, you helped someone today.
That's what I said. It was humbling. I mean, what the story itself was meant for kids that are fourth graders could read it. I mean,
Right.
It's a story.
Right.
It's
geared for younger readers.
Yeah, it's a story that fourth graders could read, but it's also a story that mom, dad, grandparents, aunts, and uncles could sit down with a child of maybe 4 years old and read the story. And if they didn't quite understand it, they'd have somebody there that could take them through the story.
So what would you say was the hardest part of writing this book?
Time. Finding time to sit down and go through things with my warped mind to get the story out. The stories, it rumbles around in my head. It's just a matter of sitting down and putting it on paper instead of having it bouncing around in the canyons of my mind, I guess you would say.
So if you don't mind me asking, when you wrote this story, were you writing it as a hobby or were you writing it for a specific purpose? Like, did you have a deadline that you were fighting with?
Oh no. The original story when I wrote it was 35 years ago.
Okay.
And I did it
before I was even born.
I did it for a class I was taking a writing class in children's literature from the Institute of Children's Literature, and I sent it in, and my instructor's name was Helen Hyman, and she sends it back and she says, this is not what the lesson called for. She said, but it is beautiful storytelling. Put it out and try to get it published. This was 35 years ago. 2 years ago, I sat down and I thought, well, maybe I should just see if what she had told me was right. And I knew that it wasn't quite what I wanted, so I sat down, and what the original story was is now on page 31, which is the middle of the book, and I wrote the first 30 pages that's in the book in about 3 days in September. The story's out there. It's just a matter of me jumbling it through, getting it through my mind and putting it down on paper.
So you said that on page 31 is the newer or the older version?
That was the original version. That when I wrote it 35 years ago, and it is where Palm Sunday is, and I wanted to go back and tell what went on prior to Palm Sunday. So I had to start from the beginning, and I had to get my bunny rabbit into the stable where he was born, and that's where we went from there.
What would you say was, never mind. I thought I was going to reread the same question, but I wasn't. What would you say was your favorite part of writing this story?
What meant the most to me was after I'd written the story. My brother Craig and I sat typing it into his computer. He was sitting over my right shoulder, and we would take a paragraph out, edit it, and check it for spelling and punctuation, and the way it flowed. We'd put it back in and go to the next paragraph. And after I got through with it, I sent it in to one publisher. And 8 days later, I get a phone call telling me they want to publish my book. Now, that doesn't happen very often. I mean, I'm a new author, and 8 days, and they want to publish it. So I called him up, and he was more excited about this what happened, more excited than I was. But 1 month later, he died of cancer, and it was the last thing that the two of us ever did together. So that makes the book.
That must have meant a lot to you.
Yes, it became a whole lot more important when that happened.
Right. And I can understand why. It would just be more touching. And like I said earlier, it just kind of grabs you by the heart.
I mean, we had 69 and a half years together, never living more than 25 miles apart our whole lives. I got to say, take that back. My freshman year in college, we were 100 miles apart. But we were right. We were always there for each other.
Right. Still close, very close friendship.
Well, we were just 14 months apart in age, so it was almost like having a twin.
Right. More like family than friends. And I've had a lot of relationships like that. So you've already kind of touched on this a bit, but who would you say is your target audience?
It would be, older grade school, middle school type kids. I mean, it's a book that can be read and enjoyed by everyone, but that was the age that I wrote it at their level, something that they could understand. There's not a lot of 14-letter words in there. It's very simple read.
So, and I kind of want to add on to that question. You said that the target audience is younger grade school children, but after that situation with the hospice patient who was very touched, would you say your target audience changed?
Not really, but it's something that anybody could enjoy. I wrote it at that level so that kids would have something to read. I'm kind of a believer in magic. I mean, it's like not magic, abracadabra type thing, but something that reaches out and grabs you. It's important. That's the kind of magic I'm talking about.
So, as a child, did you know that you were going to publish this story?
Absolutely not. I mean, that was so far from my mindset that I have to laugh at that, because, like I said, growing up, I was a jock. I mean,
I remember you saying that.
Yeah, it was just. Now I enjoyed reading, but it wasn't anything that I set out to do. I mean, I've always been able to write better than I talk. I mean, that's despite the fact that I've got people that tell me to shut up. So no, I can put down on paper my thoughts better than when I open my mouth and start to talk, because sometimes I get ahead of what my mind is saying. And so
right. Sometimes your mouth talks faster than your mind.
Well,
or is it the other way around?
Well, my mind gets ahead of the way things are coming out. I mean, when I sit down to write, I can put it in probably a closer than the way I want something to come out than sometimes when I'm talking. So
I've just got a couple more questions for you before we wrap this up. Where can
Okay.
readers find out more about you and your book?
Okay. Let's see. It's available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Walmart website, Apple iTunes, Google Play. It's on Kindle. Oh, geez, what else is there?
It sounds like it's on most book-selling sites.
Yeah. I did. That's somebody. They want to know something more about me. I would say that last February I was interviewed by Benji Cole on his program called People of Distinction, and I think that interview is available on Facebook and Twitter. I haven't looked, but I was told that it would be there. So somebody wants to look it up and let me know, go ahead.
So, how do you feel about working with Authors Press?
It's been interesting. Angeli, sometimes she has to prod me a little bit to get me to do some things, and then there are times that we just have to wait. And between the two of us, sometimes we get a little frustrated with each other, but we both know that we're out there trying to promote the book the best that we can, and it's been fun.
So I think that's all the questions I have for you today. Thank you so much for meeting with me today, Paul. It's been a great honor to talk to you about your book and the depth of it and how much it means to you. Thank you for trusting me enough to discuss this with me as well.
Well, I hope that people will take the time to buy the book and enjoy it, because like I said, it's a very simple story. It's told in a very simple way, and it is a unique look at the story of Jesus as seen through the eyes of the original Easter Bunny. So it's just something different.
So if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to Authors Press and we'll get to you as soon as we can. Hopefully someday we can come back and do another interview with your other book.
Well, it would be nice. I know what I want to say. I've got probably 3,000 words down right now, and that's just the introduction. So I get it. Like I said, time is my enemy. I just have to find time to sit down and do the actual writing.
Well, good luck to you on your future writing and any interviews you may have in the future. That's all. It was a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you for meeting with me today.
Well, you have a good day.
You too. Stay safe.
And thank you. You too.